I just believe in the process, and we're going to win going through the process.
Now, Bills Mafia, it's time for the main event. So sit back and enjoy the show.
Bills Mafia, welcome to the Red, White and Buffalo Blues, a UK Bills podcast, Bills news with a UK twist. Matt here, and returning by my side after a wet and wild holiday, it's Alex. Alex, how you doing?
I don't know about wild. I didn't go swimming or anything. It rained a little bit in Venice, but when we left, it said it was going to thunderstorm like Tuesday and Wednesday, and it only rained Wednesday, so it wasn't too bad. It's pretty happy.
That's all right. So the swimming, the wild swimming bit was out the question then with the with the rain over there.
Yeah,
that's fair enough.
All right.
So we hit the big one.
Yeah.
One question before we go into the whole review and all that is, does this define our season? And if we happen to beat the Chiefs, and no, meanwhile it's only week 5, are we more set on course for that number one? And are we then the, in inverted commas, the best team in the AFC?
Well, that's a hell of a question to start off with, man.
You know me.
You can't help but think that way, right?
Yeah.
Honestly. It's the team that beat us twice last year. It's the team that we think we need to beat to get over that proverbial hump. So as a fan, absolutely, I feel that way. I hope that the players don't. You heard Josh say it's just another game. You heard Diggs say last year was last year. Sanders wasn't here. Hopefully he's a calming force. We'll talk about that later. But it's as a human being, and you know, that's what the players are as well. If I'm thinking about it, I don't know how they're not, you know, like no matter how much of a professional you are, this game looms bigger than the Texans game, you know, in your brain. So,
I mean, I'm only saying that is because obviously, apart from the Bucks in week 14, possibly the Titans next week, Chiefs are really the only big game we've got to deal with this year. And with the third easiest schedule on there, it's almost, some people probably, and last week on the review show I said that we shouldn't get ahead of ourselves, are probably already rubber stamping that number one seed in the AFC.
Yeah, I believe I read a report. One of the websites who does predictions said, if we win this game, we have the highest percentage to win the division. If we lose this game, then Baltimore has the highest percentage to win the number one spot for the playoffs. So a lot is riding on this, surprisingly, because you got to win the games against the teams that you're competing with.
Yeah.
You know? So we're at the top of the league, and we're playing against the team that's the top of the league.
The benchmark team,
absolutely.
In essence.
You know, you want to argue against that because it is early in the season. Who we are now isn't who we're going to be in another 13 weeks or so, or whatever it is. So, you know, how much do you really want to put on that? You know, if you turn it just a little bit more, and it's just like, you don't want to go into the playoffs without having proven that you can beat good teams.
Yeah.
If we lose to Kansas City and lose to Tampa Bay, but we beat everybody else, who have we really beaten?
Yeah.
You know, nobody that exciting, nobody that makes you feel like we're playoff ready.
Yeah. And you're just looking at the teams that we've actually we've played this year. The football team, the Texans, the Steelers, and the Dolphins. Did I say Dolphins? Totally forgot about them. Compared to obviously who the Chiefs have played so far this season, the Chargers, the Ravens, and Browns.
Yep.
You're looking at that, you're thinking, yes, they've had the hardest, we've had the easiest schedule on there. Maybe that's why we can't really put a measure in until we play this game, and potentially next week against the Titans, put a measure into how good this whole team is going to be.
Sure. To argue against that, though, we beat teams that we're supposed to beat, And we
Mhm.
didn't just beat them, we embarrassed them. I mean, we have the highest margin of victory in the NFL. As you said, one of the easiest, that we actually have had the easiest schedule so far. According to Pro Football Reference, we are the highest rated team, where like 0 is average. We rate out at 16.7, and that's based on strength of schedule plus margin of victory. So even though our strength of schedule is low, because we've dominated them, our rating, our team rating is still really, really good. So, I mean, we have that. We've played bad teams, and dominated them. Has that shown enough for you to feel good about playing a good team? Like, where are you feeling going into this game?
I'm just saying we're going to have a better understanding of where this team's going to be
That's not what I asked.
come.
You don't want to answer, do you?
Oh, no,
Are you optimistic?
I am answering. I'm answering it
Okay.
in a unique way, which sounds like I'm deflecting it.
All right. Okay.
I mean, I'm looking at it, the fact that we played teams that are in the lower half of the rankings in defense and offensive rankings. We've not really had a challenge. I mean, maybe you can argue that Steelers gave us a bit of a challenge on there. Maybe not. Maybe it's the first week rust and all that. But the measuring stick on where and how confident you can be on this team for me and how well we can perform is after this game. Once we've got this game out of the way, when we know we're playing the best team in the excuse me, in the AFC, and if we manage to beat them, or even if we run them close, then I can gauge, and we can all gauge where we're going to be. And if there is going to be a rematch with the Chiefs later on in the year, we know we have almost a psychological advantage, almost, that we can go ahead and actually beat them in the second game. That's how I'm feeling.
Well, currently they have the psychological advantage over us. How are you feeling before the game, though? You just told me how you're going to feel after the game.
There's a bit of both in there.
Okay, so based off of our performance so far, we always talk about you have to dominate the bad team. We've done that. Does that show that if we could dominate the bad teams, then we can maybe keep up with the good teams? Obviously. Let's say, I mean, is this going to be a close game, or do the Chiefs have our number? With what we've put on the field so far, are you confident that we can keep up? Do you think we're going to struggle? Do you think it's going to be down to the wire? It's
going to be down to the wire. The one thing I'm more worried about than anything, I know we're going to cover this when we go into the whole keys to the game and matchups and all that, is just this offense itself. I think it hasn't clicked against these bad teams as well as we want it to be.
Yeah.
So that's my concern on there. That even though the Chiefs, let's talk about this right now. The Chiefs defense is ranked bottom 2, is it? So first, 30th or something like that.
There are a lot of numbers that are at the bottom of the league for this Chiefs defense. So when we talk about team ratings, Pro Football Reference does offense, defense, and total team. The Chiefs offense is by far the best offense in the league. They're at 20.1. That's light years ahead of the next team in the AFC, which is the Raiders at 8.6. But you asked about their defense. Their defensive rating is 13.3. That's 13.3 points below 0. That's really bad. 3 points worse than the next team, which is Washington, whom we put points on. It took a little bit to get going, but we did get on them. So that might make you think that we can, put points on this Kansas City defense. And we can do it in the air and on the ground.
Yeah, definitely.
The highest yards per play in the league at 6.9. They've surrendered the second most yards in the whole league, second most first downs, sixth most passing yards, and they're only 18th in QB hits. So they're not getting pressure on the quarterback, and guys are getting open against them. On the ground, third most rushing yards, 5.4 yards per attempt, second worst in the league. I think this is going to be a Zach Moss kind of game. We didn't have him last time, so that could change things. But at the same time, they've played against really good teams. Three of the top 5 teams in the AFC in simple rating system have been opponents of the Kansas City Chiefs. Each Bills opponent has had a negative rating. So, it kind of goes against that. I mean, 2 weeks into the season, though, these stats I would have told you don't matter. It's too early to tell. But now we have a good idea of what teams are going to be. And I think this is what the Chiefs defense is. Even though they have good names, they have players who had impact on us last year. Whatever's going on just isn't working. And I think we're going to be able to exploit that.
Yeah, I mean, the games, I mean, the points they put up in their games, I mean, 29 points conceded against the Browns, 36 to the Ravens, 30 against the Chargers, 30 against the Eagles. And let's respect the Eagles have got Jalen Hurts as your quarterback. And if Jalen Hurts as your quarterback can lead an offense to put up 30 points against your defense, then there is seriously something that really is the matter in this in there. And there's
He's not
something
that bad as many people think, honestly.
Well, yeah. Well, compared to Mayfield, you'd have Mayfield over Hurts, would you?
Slightly, honestly. But Cleveland's passing offense is not very good.
Yeah. Would you have Lamar Jackson over Jalen Hurts?
Yes.
Would you have Justin Herbert over Jalen Hurts?
Yes.
So compared to those three,
but I would still have Jalen Hurts over 10, 11 other quarterbacks in the league.
But I'm just talking about the teams that the Chiefs have faced.
Mm-hmm.
So the Chiefs they've played a serviceable starter in Jalen Hurts who's managed to put 30 on them.
Yeah.
And with this offense, I mean, what is he? We've got the 6th highest. I've had it written down somewhere. I don't know what your stats say on there. That they've scored the 2nd most points in the league. They're 6th in the league in total yards, although the yards per attempt is the 9th lowest.
Yeah, our offensive rating system, our offensive score is a 5.8. That's 3rd in the AFC. But honestly, the AFC is full of really bad offenses. Like I said, Chiefs at 20, Raiders at 8, Bills at 5.8. So compared in the whole league, we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have the 6th best offense in the NFL.
Yeah. So that's good on that. And then against the 31st odd Chiefs defense. The one thing I say I'm going about the offense that actually worries about me is obviously Allen's only had 2 interceptions this season.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously that first pass in the last game and the one was against the Dolphins, I think. But he's had 8 turnover worthy plays. This is according to PFF, and that's 2nd most in the league, behind Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence, and tied with Roethlisberger.
Yeah, no, I don't like that stat, so I'm not going to worry about that.
He's 63.5 completion this season so far, which is 27th out of all qualifying quarterbacks. And even though we've been good in the red zone previously, we've only converted 57 of them this year. 57% of them were effective enough to lead into red zone attempts. This is 23rd best, and only completed 56% of his passes in red zone play. This is a game
that bothers me,
where you're going to need to get those numbers up, because we can't rely on Tyler Bass and 3 points every time we get into that red zone. Not with this Chiefs.
That's what we did in the playoff game. Absolutely,
exactly.
That's what we did in the playoff game, and we can't have that be repeated again.
Yeah, so
the offense has to have something new up their sleeve. But before we get into what we have to do, do you think our defense is good enough to hold them to 30? Because I think that'll be the number.
Yes.
Whew.
I do. And the reason I say this is because of Star Luce. I think him come back has made a complete world of difference to this defense. Guess what? We're leading We're leading the league in turnover, takeaway attempts, and all those 11 from the last 3 weeks. The league lowest yards per pass attempt. That's only because we're actually making them throw a little bit more and they're becoming incomplete. But Star, according to PFF again, I'm going to go back to them. He's currently the second highest run stop percentage in the NFL, 16.7. Top of the PFF's pass rushing productivity metrics for defensive tackles across the whole NFL. And it's got 2 sacks this season. For a nose tackle, a guy that's just there for the run, what he's done in the offseason and what he's actually now brought back to this team, I feel a lot more confident in this defense and what they're going to be able to do and hold the Chiefs to 30 points or even less in this game than I did last year when we didn't have Star. I think if there is one key to this game and one player, other than Milano, who will go through the injury report, more likely going to be out, the one important player I think on this defense for this night, for this Sunday coming, is Star in that middle.
Yeah. I mean, we have the highest hurry percentage in the NFL at 17.5%. Our QB knockdowns per pass attempt is right in the middle of the league at 9.9%. But our QB pressures percentage, it's hurries plus knockdowns plus sacks per drop back, 34.3%. We're getting to the quarterback. We're affecting the quarterback's ability to make plays. The Kansas City offensive line has had Mahomes running around a lot.
Yeah.
That needs to happen from our front four. It can't be from blitzing, because if we blitz, then someone's going to be open and Mahomes will find them. And even if we double Kelsey and Hill, Tyreek Hill's too fast and Kelsey's too strong. I mean, he's Gronk. He is. And we could never stop him. We could never figure it out. He was the one player that we game planned for 10 years and could never stop. And here we are playing Kelsey every season and he's dominating.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill, I mean, it's just too fast. They don't call him a cheater for nothing. He has been stopped. I mean, the Chargers were able to slow him down. But still, I mean, Kansas City has put up in their 2 losses 400 total yards of offense in each game. Their offense cannot really be stopped. That's why I said you hold them to 27-30. They had a good game. You know what? We got to score 32.
I mean, I was reading before this, some from the Arrowhead Pride, one of those SB Nation fan pages for the Kansas City Chiefs, and they've made a couple of points here. The fact that where to go? That obviously Mahomes is great against the blitz, but can he do that when he doesn't know when it's coming and who it's coming from? Can they obviously they've got a whole new O-line. They've lost some of the guys. Yes, they brought in veterans and all that, but you've got rookies coming in, Niang, Creed Humphrey. Yes, they are good prospects, especially Creed Humphrey, but you've got rookies trying to learn a whole new pass pro protection in there. And even if we do have those random blitzes, even if it's just 4, they won't know where it's going to go. And as long as we keep the ball in front of us rather than behind us, we can really make this Chiefs offense work and make Mahomes a little bit more uncomfortable. Yes, complete straight out blitzing every single rush, every single play. Yeah, definitely don't do. But we sprinkle in the blitz. You're going to put a big question mark in Mahomes' head. When is it coming? Who's it coming from? Because hopefully we'll have Hughes, Addison, Rousseau, Epinesa, maybe Basham or Obada, Ed Oliver, guys that will be able to rush. And at any point in any formation, they could just say, right, you're going, you're blitzing, and then say 2 out of 3 passing down or downs, they rush. Maybe 1 out of 3 they rush. Maybe 3 out of 3 they rush. As long as they can mix it up and just at least confuse him and this young offensive line a little bit, then that's where this defense can take over the offense and take up the challenge and give a little bit more protection, shall we say, to the secondary, who will definitely be challenged because you're going to have Trey White mainly on Tyreek Hill, but Milano, you're going to have AJ Klein actually covering him, maybe Andre Smith, Tyrell Dodson. Maybe they do it
Not
and
too
put
excited about it. Yeah.
maybe they
Hoyer's got to
put
be healthy too. I mean, having a
exactly.
safety shadow is going to be really important.
Maybe, and this is just me just thinking out loud and just probably thinking complete random crap. But Edmonds on Kelsey. Edmonds is actually athletic enough. There's a bit of a matchup, the size matchup, same there, but that's just me just being me and just trying to throw a new play in there. But
It's
you
one
just
of the
got to look
things
at
that
the
we
other
haven't
side.
seen before. We haven't seen Edmonds really be a coverage kind of linebacker. So maybe there's an opportunity for him. He said it, like, we don't know what's up with Milano, but I'm ready to step up. So if you're ready to step up, mate,
Yeah,
here's Travis Kelce. Do your stepping up.
exactly.
Good luck. It's gonna be
I
crazy.
mean, you're looking at, say, there's question marks now going to be on Jordan Poyer.
Yeah.
So you're going to have Jaquan Johnson actually start. Is he? We've known that he's good enough. He's actually good to be that serviceable backup on there. But you take Poyer out, you put Jaquan Johnson in there, and you've got Wallace and Dane Jackson on the other side of Trey White. Meaning, really, you're going to have Hyde and White pretty much double teaming Hill, or you're going to have just say Trey. You just go one on one with Hill and Poyer. I want you to come over the other, or want you to really help out the other cornerback on there. That's the one thing that's going to trouble me about this defense and the complete injury report that we actually have.
Yeah.
Is they still have skilled players. I mean, Mecole Hardman, Byron Pringle, they're still good guys, but it's just the coverage. If we can keep Mahomes in that pocket and give our guys a little bit more time in the secondary and not let Mahomes rush, then I think we do have a lot more chance to actually pull off a win and actually hold this offense to a low amount.
So, I mean, most of your conversation has been about stopping the Chiefs, and I don't think that's a thing that can happen. I don't think it's going to. I mean, like I said, in their losses, they've put up 400 yards of offense. We're not going to stop them. We can try and slow them down, hold them to field goals, but they're so good in the red zone with Kelsey. The whole game script is about Allen overcoming his demons and being able to put up 32 on this Chiefs defense. If we can't score as well, then the game is going to be over. This offense needs to have something else. And you also didn't even talk about Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who is averaging close to 100 yards a game. He ate us apart in the regular season last year. The weather right now, not looking too great, I think I saw. So it might be a running game kind of game. And, hopefully that's when having him in there make a huge difference. But I just think the most important narrative for us to talk about is our offense against their defense. And I think one of the best things that's in our favor is that we haven't had to open up the playbook in any of our games. Week 1 against Pittsburgh, obviously we needed to score and we couldn't. So that's a little bit of a lingering kind of issue with me here. But in the last 3 games, I would hope that Daboll and McDermott have sat down and said, hey, what can we do for the Chiefs? And how can we not show them that in these games leading up to it? So I'm hoping to see things that we haven't seen yet. I'm hoping Kansas City sees things that they're not expecting. And that's really what I think is most important. And other than that, it's on Daboll there, but it's on Allen to have his head right. He said he was stressing in the playoff game. He said week 1 he was too amped up. What Allen are we going to get here?
Yeah, no, exactly. I think it's good to see, and I mean you're right. The ball needs to come up with a really good game plan on there. Not really have too much of these stupid trick plays they've done on short games where they've lost yards on there,
Yeah.
and actually just play to the strength of this team, which is your receiving cause.
Yeah.
I mean, reading it, we've got excuse me. I mean, even Patrick Mahomes has actually hyped up Josh Allen on there. And obviously, we've seen how Josh likes to improve himself every single year. We saw Diggs at the end of the championship game last year just sit there, watch the celebration, using it as motivation.
Yep.
I mean, Patrick Mahomes came out and said about Josh is, he goes, I think what you see with Josh is that he gets better and better every single year. He's not satisfied where he's at. He works through his motions, his feet, there's different types of stuff to give him an edge. And that's what all the best quarterbacks do. It's what he does. And trying to find the one thing that he can get better on and continue to do that. You've seen, and she goes on to say, you've seen Josh, they put a lot on him. They make him a lot of checks at the line of scrimmage to make the right decisions, throw the ball, run the ball, do all that different type. I think it's where they put them at a level where they're a dominant team. He's definitely got better and better each year, and I'm sure we'll have a lot of battles in the career. And that's what we'd like to see. Like to see that, okay, all these analysts, especially what's his name, that we're
Don't
never
say
gonna,
Nick Wright.
I wasn't going to, but you have.
Yeah.
That's why you say, and obviously all these guys thinking, okay, Allen's still going to struggle and all that. But when you get recognition from your own peer,
Yeah.
a guy that you pretty much for the next 10 years you're going to be in a straight up battle with each year, it's good. And putting what the ball's got to do is actually do a game plan, and actually, as Mahomes says, actually give Josh more of that responsibility on that field to do the checks, to actually and make decisions. And I think this is where really we can look at how this offense will work. You play to strengths. The run game's come back. We've seen that in the last few weeks. We think that we can get a little bit more on there, especially with this. Let's say we keep going back to it. This shoddy defense of Kansas City. The one thing on offense that's going to make me worried is now that offensive line.
Sure, of course.
Because last week they mixed it up. Obviously, it went Dawkins, Botker, Morse, Darrell Williams, Spencer Brown, and obviously word coming out is most likely going to be that those five that are going to be starting against the Chiefs. My question is Spencer Brown, his first actual road start as a starter from the first snap, going to Arrowhead Stadium, which is one of the noisiest stadiums in the NFL. Are we going to have to expect him too much of him? Is it a case that he's going to be thrown to the wolves? I know against the Texans there wasn't really a pass rush or any pressure there. They managed to hold himself. But this is a Chiefs offense that still can rush you. I want to know what you think about Spencer Brown's potential first road start, and are we expecting him to be like a first round type pick, or we just got to temper our expectations with him?
No, I mean, you answered your own question. It's definitely temper your expectations because he's not a first round pick. I think that Kansas City is going to be the biggest challenge because, that playing in that stadium, I mean, we've seen how he likes to have fun. So he wears his heart on his sleeve on the field, and the stage might get too big for him. I hope not. It's tough to say because we haven't seen. So it's going to be the biggest challenge. I think that if the Texans did have Josh running around just a little bit in the last game where he's still able to make plays. That long pass to Diggs was all improvisation. So hopefully it's just going to come down to, if they get pressure, what is Allen going to do with it? We really need to focus on running the ball in order to, maintain momentum, short stuff, quick passes, crossers, Isaiah McKenzie game, Beasley. We haven't talked about how much of a headache he kind of has been this week, but we're just going to skip it, honestly. But if any bit of what Beasley is saying on social media affects his performance on the field, his desire, his heart to fight for the logo, I'm going to be really worried about this team. So hopefully, the locker room is tight enough to get over that stuff. Hopefully he's got support from guys in the locker room. It's all about performance on the field right now. That's kind of all I care about. So hopefully we can get over that. And Spencer Brown, it might be a situation of he gets pulled early. We get Ford back in there. I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to see. And it's the last thing I want to see is Allen running around. So he's got to get the ball out quickly. And I think that's going to be a big focus.
Let's look at the keys here. On defense, on our offense, it is actually using pretty much almost every single person in this Arsenal. So
give me a big Kumro touchdown.
Gabe Davis touchdown. He's actually been
need to see something
for a little bit.
Yeah.
So he's a secret weapon, pretty much. On there, I don't think I've seen him on the injury report. No, he's not on the injury report on there, so he's quite healthy. But you've got Sanders, who now has got that chemistry with Allen. You've got Dawson Knox, who is now having a breakout year almost.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So he's a red zone guy. We have too many players on offense to not beat up on a 31st ranked defense. Steve Spagnuolo, though, has shown to have our number. In 2 games last year, we looked awful. So that's going to be the biggest matchup. I almost think I'm not going to be shocked if Mahomes goes 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. I won't be, and I won't be mad about it. It's that I need Josh to do the same thing. I need our running backs to get like Moss and Singletary combined 100 yards and a touchdown. Need it. Or else if we can't score 30, then this game is over. And it's all going to come down to, I think, the emotion of it all. I think that Daboll and McDermott have learned from their mistakes. And will come out and give us something really good here. It all comes down to execution. And Sanders, I love listening to Emmanuel Sanders talk. When he's in press conference, he's such a cool, smart guy. And I really think that he will be a big factor on offense, and Starr will be on defense.
You're just looking at, let's say, we'll go back to the receiving side of it. Who do they have faced? They faced just really, was it just Landry and Njoku when the Browns? They're the really ones that really got points on the board there. They faced, was it just Sammy Watkins and who else? Hollywood Brown against the
Mark Andrews
against the Ravens. Charges that Keenan Allen,
Mike Williams. Yeah, no, these are all really good offenses that they played. The biggest
Titans
is that they were up 35-24 on Baltimore, and they blew it late. They were up on the Chargers, and they lost it late. Mahomes has thrown some interceptions in some of these games, but we're going to be the best offense that they face. So if this game is played in a predictor, a simulator, a video game, on paper, we're supposed to win.
Yeah. And
do you think we're going to?
I think we're going to. Just one more thing on the receivers faced. The Eagles, who put 30 up on there, they really just went through Devontae Smith and Zach Ertz. They're the 2 main ones. All the other ones, Okay, Dan Goddard actually got 50, running back got 50 as well. But wide receiver wise, they only really went through Smith and Ertz pretty much on there. And for that, I can see, and this is me being the optimistic guy that I am, I can actually see us going into Arrowhead and actually coming out of there as a 4-1 team.
All
I
right.
think it's definitely something that we can actually we can do. We can actually definitely put it off. We've got all the tools in there. We've added more tools to this defense, mainly with all the pass rush and with Emmanuel Sanders coming in to give us now 4 top quality wide receivers, our breakout tight end, Isaiah McKenzie, and even now with Zach Moss back in healthy, as you say, missed the last 2 games, giving us an extra dimension, not just in the run game, but in the pass game. I think we've got enough weapons to actually, on both sides, minus a few key injuries, to actually get this, to get the job done and go there 4-1, send the Chiefs to 2-3, and have that 2-game lead over the Chiefs going into the rest of the season.
What's the score?
Score is going to be 34-27 Bills.
33-27 Chiefs.
34-27.
Nope, I'm telling you mine. 33-27 Chiefs.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
am worried that Allen cares too much about who it is instead of just being week 5.
Okay.
I'd love to be wrong, and I'll admit that in our post-game show. I just think that Arrowhead plus Mahomes equals Allen trying too hard.
Okay, that's fair enough. I mean, before we go, let's just quickly run through this day. This is the injury report from Thursday. Obviously, we won't know today's one or Friday's one as we recorded beforehand. It looks like the only ones really to worry about, obviously, is Matt Milano, who more than likely is going to be out.
Yeah.
Pretty much apart from that, everyone else was full. Tyrone Jones had a hamstring injury. He did not practice the last 2 days. Jordan Poyer has been limited. There was vet rests for Sanders, Beasley, Addison previously. And Star as well. So I think even though you look at the injury report and it shows big, I think the big ones we need to look out for Sunday is Milano and Poyer. I think they will be the key really to this defense and how many points we concede and how well we can cover this Chiefs team.
Tre'Davious White with a shoulder injury being limited on Wednesday and Thursday is also kind of interesting because it's something that we haven't talked about. We're all kind of feeling, hey, he'll be fine, because without him, it's almost like, oh no. So I think that's why we're not really too worried about it. But it's tough if there's anything wrong with Tre'Davious.
The one good thing is Obada is actually has had 2 full practices.
Yeah, so that's just another player on that D line.
So hopefully we can get him in there and he can get his first sack, which would be the game-winning sack.
That would be good.
That'd be good. But is there anything else you want to add before we wind this episode up?
No, I'm just super nervous, and I did not enjoy getting ready for this podcast because I want to pick the Bills, but I just can't.
That's fair. So, I mean, as it says, keep following us at UK_Bills on Twitter and on Instagram. Podcast at RWBB_podcast on Twitter. Obviously, follow Tim and Charlie. They had their Buffalo Bills from Afar podcast actually out yesterday, giving you more tips and bets. And we know that Tim has actually got lucky on one last week, which was bloody amazing. I should have actually pulled him up on there. Buffalo Bills UK on YouTube and Facebook. And until it'll be Monday that we'll actually do the review show if we're both still not half asleep.
Yeah, we'll see about that. That'll be something.
But until then, it's from Alex. This is Matt saying good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for listening. Keep hitting that like, that subscribe, that follow button.
Share button. The share button.
Share button. Word of mouth. You never let me finish my sentence when I do these, but hey ho. But
You always forget to say the
that
share
note,
button.
share button. There's a share button. There's a follow. There's a word of mouth. I didn't put that in there, but now we're digressing into an argument, which is good and bad at the same time when we're trying to close up. So, for Alex, this is Matt. We're going to have our argument off recording, saying, "See you Monday. Let's go to Buffalo Bills."
Go Bills.